I've been a content creator for around 12 years now, and I've been a videographer for about 8 years. And I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I have learned over the past 8 years of doing this professionally. I think one of the most valuable things that you can do as a videographer or any type of creative business when you're trying to make money is fail. The past 8 years of failures have all added up to give me a good sense of what's right and what's wrong and how to build a business. I will note that there are no right or wrong answers when you're trying to build a business like this. This is just from my personal experience and from what I've learned over the past 8 years of doing this. Okay, so the first thing that we found when we first started our business was that we didn't have the content to showcase our skill set. One of the easiest ways to develop your skills and showcase your services is by doing spec ads. Now, spec ads are fake adverts for brands or companies, and they give you an opportunity to showcase your understanding of a brand, showcase what you can bring to a brand, and also showcase what you can provide as a video or any type of creative. The second thing is really self-explanatory, but it's something that we didn't really do when we first started out, and it took us a very, very long time to kind of open our eyes up to it. It's the simple act of just networking. By networking, I don't necessarily mean going and doing events and stuff like that and talking to people in the industry like that. It's more so just creating an online presence by interacting with the people around you who are also doing similar things to you. The approach that we used to take was just being very spiteful or competitive to other people within the industry, especially immediate rivals as we were looking at it. At some point in the past 2 years, we kind of just pivoted that mindset and decided to just start being nice to people, start interacting with people around us who are doing similar things, because ultimately there's no point creating enemies with people within the industry. And once we started interacting more with the people around us and kind of hyping other people up who are doing cool things rather than being critical of what they're doing, we found that a lot more people are willing to reach out to us. We're getting more referrals from people. We can kind of refer business to other people. If we can't take it on, they do the same to us, and it ends up being a more beneficial environment and scenario. So it's simple, just be nice to people around you and follow your competition, interact with your competition. It's not that big of a deal, and it's probably better for everyone involved. Okay, so the next point is something that I've seen floating around the internet for the past few months, and I agree with it mostly. The concept is stealing like an artist. Now, the idea of stealing like an artist basically implies that you take inspiration from other people and things that you've seen, but you interpret it with your own personality and your own perspectives into it. I don't think there's necessarily a problem with straight up copying someone's unique style, especially if it means that you're projected to be on a journey of self-discovery and figuring out what your own style is. That's how we learn and grow as creatives. The problem that I see a lot of people falling into is just straight up copying videos pound for pound, like for like. Because once everyone starts copying every other person, then every single person's videos and content looks the same. If you are going to steal like an artist, you need to make sure that you are being a little bit self-aware and trying to figure out what parts of your own personality you can put into the content. I can say that I've seen things on Instagram and on YouTube that I've integrated into my own work, but I always try and come at it from my own personal perspective. The thing that you've got to be conscious of is the fact that if you don't really feel like you like the thing that you did, or you feel like you're just doing it for the sake of it, then it's not something that you should be doing. It doesn't align with your creative vision, and that's fine. Just find other inspiration and try out new things. It's the whole point of all of this, is to just constantly be improving and figuring out your own voice. So this next point is something that we've only recently discovered, but I think it's definitely something that people need to hear, because it's something that I wish I knew sooner. Completely forgot that I made coffee. Hold on. Okay, cheers. Once you've been doing video creation for a while and you have a portfolio that you're proud and happy with, then you can start charging more money. But this is kind of a lesson that I've learned, not necessarily from being in the industry, but more so from being yelled at by my girlfriend to charge more money. I'm going to be just completely transparent with this in terms of pricing, because I believe it's the best policy. For example, we started doing real estate videos in 2022, and our first client was a retainer client. We were charging $4,900 plus GST every single month for video content, and that gave them 12 videos per month, 2 of which were brand marketing videos. So 10 property videos per month they were able to use. The idea was that we were throwing in the brand videos for free, which meant that we were essentially charging $490 per video for real estate videos, which is not even remotely enough money. That is so low, and we were charging that for maybe a year and a half to 2 years. We did have things that you could add on to the property video that brought it up to around $700 per video, but not many people were getting that, and they weren't really incentivized to do that. Our next big jump after we stopped working with that client was to increase our prices up to $750 per shoot, and that is inclusive of service tax. Now, we did this for a while. It was pretty decent, but then we realized the amount of work that we were expected to do for that price began increasing higher and higher. It just wasn't worth it at that point to be doing the videos for $750. So recently we've increased our base level pricing to $900 plus service tax, which brings it up to $990. And each and every single time we've increased our prices, we've ummed and ahed about it, and my girlfriend has just always told me, you just need to do it. Just people will pay what they pay. And every single time our fear of losing clients over the price hikes have just been null and void, and we've retained clients and people are more than happy to pay the price increases. I think what we worried about was the fact that a lot of businesses can be quite stingy, I guess. But in reality, specifically in this instance, they're offloading the pricing to their clients. So the real estate agency isn't even seeing those costs. And this isn't just for the real estate clients, this is transferable across all of our client base. We have a handful of clients that we work with once per year for specific events, and we've progressively increased our pricing, but then we've also ummed and ahed about doing so. And each time we've increased our pricing, everyone's been perfectly fine with paying it. After doing it for so long now, we finally feel like we're at a point where we're getting paid appropriately for the services that we provide. And as a side note, this is why we chose to stop doing wedding videos, because there's no way that you can make that make any sense for the amount of time that goes into it, because when people are planning weddings, they always want to be trying to be budget friendly, regardless of how much they're wanting to splurge. Ultimately, the lesson here is that if you feel like your services are undervalued by your pricing and you want to increase your pricing, just do it. Most people will just pay for the price increases, and if people don't want to pay, then you don't need their money. Like, they're not worth working with if they're going to undervalue your services. Okay, so my final lesson that I've learned from the past few years of doing this is that you should never reduce your pricing. You should only ever reduce the scope. I know that this one sounds similar to the last point, but it is different. The last point was talking about not undervaluing your services and charging an appropriate amount of money for what you do. This point is more so about when you send a quote out to a client and you get a little bit of pushback. It's happened a few times to us where we've sent a quote out to a client and they've not been particularly happy with the price that we've provided, and we've bent over backwards, reduced the pricing, slightly reduced the scope of works, and then they've been happy with the new pricing. We feel like we're being undervalued, and then it's just not an enjoyable project to make. The very, very simple fix, which I've only recently figured this out, is that you don't reduce the pricing at all. You just reduce the scope of works. One thing that I've learned recently is that you shouldn't reduce your pricing and keep a similar scope of works, because it does the same thing as the previous point of reducing your value down to a lower number. If that situation does come up and the client asks you to reduce the price or says that they're not happy with the price, you can still give them a lower price, but you also significantly reduce the scope of works. It is a really simple thought process to have, but it is very effective in the fact that you can still maintain your value as a creative. You don't have to sacrifice the financial side of things versus your time. And you're essentially putting your foot down with the client so that they know that your time is valued. And that was just some of the things that I've learned over the past 8 years of doing video work professionally. If you're watching this and you're also a video creator and have other lessons that you've learned, please feel free to share them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what other people's perspectives are. Besides that, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.